Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 85 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Cameron.
Hello.
And Keo.
Hello.
Yeah, that's right. Big Daddy's back.
Welcome back, Big Daddy.
Thank you. What, Cameron? What?
The only person who has a dad on this podcast.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, moving along.
I'm sorry, Cameron. Hang on. Hey, Big Daddy.
Look. The only person that should be calling Matt Big Daddy is Allison on their honeymoon. We don't need to hear it here.
We haven't gone on the honeymoon yet.
I said on the honeymoon.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got to wait till like next year before we can afford to go on the honeymoon.
No, you get a new bathroom first.
Yeah, but apparently we're getting a new bathroom first. I don't,
What did you do to the last one? Is probably my question.
Actually, yeah, it's a fair point. The current bathroom is fine. The current bathroom is fine. I think, we're getting off topic immediately, which is very, very on brand. This is the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast, as always. Allison has posted in the chat that it goes honeymoon, kitchen, Bali, bathroom. Okay, that's good to know. Kitchen just snuck in there. I think
Bali.
The fine. Well, Bali we have to go because we have another wedding to attend.
How many weddings do you have?
We're at the age.
It sounds like you've got a deadline for the kitchen there. That's what that is.
Look, he's trying to convince us right now. I'm 100% going to get off topic. He's trying to convince us right now that he is actually like post-COVID, rejoining society.
Yeah, I know.
This is a reason for concern.
It's very surprising, right? That COVID did not just kill every bit of social interaction that I have with human beings outside of the show.
When did you decide to be sociable?
Look,
why weren't we informed?
I did have a life before video games. It was a very brief stint, but no. The thing is, I went from not going to never have gone to a wedding since, and then like post COVID, I've been to 3 weddings, including my own, and there'll be a 4th one in a couple of years. 4 weddings, yes.
I love that all my IRL friends are people that have like no relationships whatsoever. Makes it so goddamn affordable.
That is fair. Though to be fair, weddings are fun to go to when the food's good and that kind of stuff. But and the nice thing is I got to reuse the suit from my wedding for the other wedding I went to. So I was like, great. I managed to get that done on the cheap. But yes, this is the Xbox Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. We talk about video games sometimes. Apparently, I guess this week the only thing going on is really the FTC thing, which everyone's fucking sick of hearing about.
I'm over it.
We did get a resolution from it. Well, I'll talk a little bit about kind of what we've been playing and that kind of stuff. And we do have a community questionnaire from my good friend Isaac. So I guess we'll probably start with that. Really? So Isaac asked, "Hey guys, some games require you to continually hit your head against the wall until you get through it. So do you have any tips on how to preserve those pain in the ass? How to persevere through those pain in the ass achievements? What do you personally do with those? Thanks for the show. Thank you for the question, Isaac."
So I guess it depends on whether it's a skill-based achievement or whether it's a grind-based achievement. Because I feel like with the grind-based achievement, you put on a friendly...
You listen to this podcast.
Friendly achievement hunting podcast. Mm-hmm. And then you join a community, complain about those set achievements, and then share in that pain.
Exactly. Yeah, you do Gears of War 3 for, months on end, and you hang out in a party and you just consume so much fucking media. Which is tough for me because some of my favorite media is anime and I refuse to watch it dubbed and I have to read the subtitles, which means I can't focus on what I'm playing. So I have to exclusively go with podcasts or things that are in English.
It's like 10 minutes in and we're already talking about dubbed versus subbed, I feel. Dub's better.
I mean, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna come out swinging.
Until I met my wife, I never used subtitles for anything, and now she has the subtitles on for everything, and I just have them on now, and it's just good. Sometimes you don't see what's written on the screen, and I guess it's the same for like anime stuff. I just don't use that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I always just think people who don't like subtitles just can't read. That's
I mean, it's 100% true. I'll just use subtitles just in case I've misheard anything.
Oh,
essentially.
Yeah.
Also, I can't hear for shit, so that
Yeah.
also helps.
In terms of like grindy, sorry, not grindy, skill-based achievements though, it's just I'm gonna 100% call Matt out here. Matt is the
Oh fuck! I knew
worst.
this. I knew this was gonna happen. I was all right.
I'm not talking myself up, but I'm 100% the kind of person that will just sit there and just punish myself. I'll happily keep on doing it, because if I'm close to getting completion, you know how rare completions are for me. That's
true. That is true.
It's a lot easier for me to say, well, I've given it my best shot, or I've got the completion. Like taking Halo Wars 2, for example, we'll do one run through. It'll take like an hour, and Matt will be on tilt because of it.
An hour is ridiculous, and it was a tough hour as well. To be fair, though,
it's rough.
But also timing wise, it's been a little rough for that. But I do get what you mean, though. Yeah,
it's also the fact too. Like, I'm very much a person that will try and like push the head against the wall, because I feel like if you don't in that said moment, you're losing some muscle memory. You're losing something.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
It depends on like your level of frustration. I can understand why Matt wants to walk away from it half the time. But I guess context also matters in terms of what it is and.
Sure.
Yeah, I have an insane amount of patience, so I can do that, and I will sit there, and I like a little sneak preview for what I've been playing, but there was an achievement that I sat there for like 3 days, 3 evenings basically, and I stopped when I was done. And when I'm like, okay, it's had enough. I'll come back next day, because I know that the next day I'll come back to it. It'll be a little bit better. But yeah. The thing that I find mostly is that if I'm slouching, I'm playing like dog shit. If I sit up and fix, like I wrote this in the question chat, that if I sit up and fix the way I'm sitting, and I tend to put like a pillow on my lap and the controllers on that, because I feel like if my hands and arms are like too far away, it kind of like pulls away. So I kind of like put everything close and like get a really good response. And resting your hands on something because you're on the sofa is probably the best way. So I'll be the responsible one.
plus
and
plus
say,
20 to concentration.
Fix your posture, and maybe you'll have a good time. So
when it comes to multiplayer kind of stuff as well, I don't know about you. The only thing that like really put me off it is like Keo knows the said example that I'm not going to say the example, but Keo knows 100% what I'm talking about. When somebody in the group isn't giving a task the same amount of attention as everybody else.
Are we talking about you, Cameron?
No.
Are we going back to Call of Duty Black Ops 3 again? That rock, man.
Oh, that is not me. No, I'm just saying, like, communication with
just the shots fired episode.
Yeah, 100%. Communication with those kind of tasks really plays pivotal into, like, whether it be Halo Wars 2, whether it be Call of Duty Black Ops. Like, if you don't have good communication, like, I've played in esports tournaments before where, like, at the start, we've kind of just, like, all huddled up and just concentrated on our own things. And it wasn't until, like, one of the guys' girlfriends got us, like, this is back when I was, like, 18, 19. It's like, no, you guys need to actually communicate more. You need to, like, even if it's the most obvious statement ever, you're all going to be in sync.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think you need to actually talk to each other about what you're doing and what you see other people doing. If you see someone else making a mistake, you can call them out. And like, I'm pretty sure you can come to an agreement that you don't have to, get shitty about somebody calling you out for something as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have kind of different levels for this. So I think for the grindy stuff is I'm really good at grinding through bullshit. I have quite a bit of patience for that kind of stuff. I mean, I have really good patience for monotony, because I can kind of tune out things, and I played enough games that autopilot works pretty well for me. And because I can, split my attention usually well enough that it's not a problem. Skill-based stuff is something that everyone in this chat has had problems, with me playing through stuff, whether that be us doing the bullshit stuff in Remnant, that fucking queen, or the dual bug boss, and then Keo, us doing Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Like I was even a bad like it was bad for me as well, forgetting some of the like forgetting to dodge roll
I,
is the worst thing in that game.
it worked out well, right? And I think that
Yeah,
once we
yeah,
kind of got the rhythm down and kind of got a feel for
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but I think for me, it's if I'm doing something in multiplayer, that's always
Mm,
really hard for me because
mm,
I hit up against my skill ceiling pretty quickly.
mm,
So for example, like when we were doing Black Ops with Kiku, yeah, I mean, obviously, obviously he hard carries and he's very, very good at the game, and so I always feel like I'm letting down the side quite a bit, which is something that's like personally
mm,
frustrating to me.
mm.
And even if that doesn't always like super impede our progress with stuff, it's something that frustrates me a lot. So like when you get into like a multiplayer situation, where there's other people involved, I really, really struggle with that. So I try to be as communicative and as patient as possible, just because I know that like that though that's sometimes that's just the best I can do.
Yeah.
Um, Something like, for example, like the Eliminator is the classic example for me, right? My biggest the biggest thing for me is time. In that, like a lot of time I can be quite time poor in terms of like things I have to do and games I have to play and all that kinds of shit. And so playing around the Eliminator is not a quick thing for the most
Mm.
part. And so, like there is nothing more deciding than getting to the final race and just completely beefing it, because then you've basically just lost all of that. All that
Mm,
time was completely wasted. Um, and so that's kind of where it gets me. Like, as long as I'm making some sort of incremental progress, I'm usually doing okay. And I think that's how we got through Dante's Inferno relatively well. Was that we kind of the classic, like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And
yeah.
like when we did, like, we were like, one challenge, focus on the challenge, practice it, do it, work on it. If we fuck it up, we just keep trying it. And eventually we just kind of started knocking them out. And
Mm,
once we did that, like, I went and did the single player and just started smashing through them, because I was like, this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. And it's like, okay, this one is absolute bullshit. We'll circle back and come to that one later. And just let,
yep.
and it was like the bomb one, I remember, for us, was just a nightmare because things were exploding all over the place and it was really hard to control.
Mm,
But once we left that one to like one of the last ones, and once we got that done, everything else was relatively smooth sailing. So like my strategy usually is like, yeah, for grindy stuff, and I also try to I also get like burnout on games quite a bit because I play a lot and I put a lot of hours in, and I get to the stage where I'm like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. Like I'm not like, and so sometimes I will just step away and just do something else. And like, as weird as that sounds, like I will just like watch TV or like something else, or like
mm,
read. I've been trying to like I've been trying to like because in the past I've like pushed myself to those areas where I'm like, this is like getting really annoying and difficult, and now I'm just like completely on tilt and not having fun with the game and just wishing it was over, which is like, why am I playing games at that point?
yeah.
um and I find that I usually need to step away at that point or a little bit before that, and then if I come back the next day I feel a lot more refreshed, and even if I'm still struggling with stuff I feel a lot better about it. So because I guess the key thing is just to remind myself, for me at least, that like it's not a race. I'm not like, I'm only achievement hunting and playing games for myself at this point. I don't get myself involved in competitions or anything like that
Mm,
anymore for that exact reason. And so if it takes me an extra 10 hours to finish a game, so be it. Doesn't really matter that much. Um, Unless it's a Dark Souls or like a Souls like game, in which case I will just bash my fucking head against it until I get it, because I love those games, and that's kind of
yeah.
part of the charm. Uh,
I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything more to add to that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a classic case of going to sleep and waking up in the morning and smashing it first time.
it makes
Like
like
it's
yeah,
happened
like
to everybody.
sleeping on stuff does, like, it's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah.
joke, right? But like it really does
Mm,
make a lot of difference sometimes.
mm.
Save in your dreams.
Yeah.
Practice there for like 10 hours.
Oh, yeah. I've got so many examples of that.
Wake up. Why didn't I actually finish this?
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
saying that, is there anything that anyone in the community did that we can kind of read out at all?
Let me just pull that up there. Let's have a look.
All right. Well, Bulbasaur says, cry and keep playing. I take several breaks by playing other games. It takes me way too long to do them sometimes. Probably explains why I have such a long backlog.
Yeah, that's a good one, because I think that
Mm,
like I've done that thing of having like one, like that's why I like having my project game, but it's usually like a longer game that I can kind of throw some hours into if I need to. But
mm.
also if something comes up on Game Pass or I want to switch off of it, I'm not just stuck playing that one thing that potentially will frustrate me in either the time investment or the RNG or the skill, where it's like, okay, well, this is frustrating me. I'm going to take a break and actually play something that's like totally different.
Yeah. Stack says, I watched someone else play said game on Twitch and YouTube to get some insight. That's really good as well. Watch me on Twitch, please. Yep. Chin Doctor says roller 20, valid.
Yep, because he just has perfect luck and he never struggles with anything.
Yeah.
The son of a bitch.
And I think that's about it.
Yeah. All right.
I think we just need to start giving like hundreds to Kirby just to,
I mean, he's been posting about his casino wins. He's doing very well for himself. All right. Well, let's get into some of the. Oh, actually, let's get into the news. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
I will just touch on this. We got the verdict from the FTC case, and the judge ruled in favor of Microsoft. So it looks like the merger is going ahead. They are appealing it, and then getting completely dunked on. The FTC basically is just taking L's left, right, and center. It looks like. And
I think it was like Mark Yabari put a tweet up just like your taxpayer.
Your taxpayer money at work, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
I've actually seen so many Twitter posts today, just like I don't consent to my tax dollars going to the FTC if they're going to make stupid decisions like this.
Yeah,
it's like, geez.
I saw someone post on Twitter. It's like FTC is currently like 0 for 9 in the last like 9 cases that they've done.
They're really not doing well. Yeah, pretty sure that main one isn't even like trained or something.
Well, okay. So there's a couple of things in the legal practice you have to do every year, and one of them is pay your fees, and the other one is every year keep up with your training. And you have to do that even in Australia. So it's just like they're just looking at this list of things that she hasn't done to be made to be like actually able to practice law. So
basically listing yourself as counsel.
Or redundant, pretty much. So,
pretty much, yeah. Again, it's just like, but kind of ahead of that, so it looks like they were kind of coming to the end of this. So the FTC are going to appeal it, but I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. And considering the news that Activision Blizzard is to be removed from the NASDAQ, it looks like the merger is basically like Monday is basically that's it.
Yeah.
I imagine this won't be the end of hearing about it, because there's still some stuff going on with the CMA and all that kind of stuff. They seem to have reached some sort of agreement or some sort of truce, or something that they haven't quite announced yet. I mean, it will be the weekend, so just the kind of stuff that won't happen until the week. But
it'll basically be like what they can and can't do in the UK, pretty much. So
pretty much, and the talk is that it'll be some sort of concession on cloud gaming of some sort. Which I'm sure Microsoft will be like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, we'll just take care of it. Because the alternative is that Activision games basically just get pulled. Activision and Microsoft games just get pulled from the UK, which is not good for anybody. But like I said, I don't think this is going to be the end of us hearing about it, which I know people are fucking sick of it.
What are you talking about? I downloaded the entire cases to read through.
There's a lot of documents.
I just want to talk about games.
I'll do it with my ears though. I'm not an idiot. I don't read with my eyes anymore. So
no, exactly. Yeah, no. Why would you do that? You just have an AI voice.
I can play grindy video games and listen to things.
Listen to legal documents. Yeah, that sounds fucking riveting.
I'll just get legal to just replay everything for me.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I want like an legal like AI bot. That that has without his consent taken his voice, and has caused a whole sort of ethical issue. I didn't put that in there, but
the whole voice, the
voice actor thing with Futaba's voice actor, in Persona 5, someone using an AI version of their voice.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of the Skyrim mods. There was a whole bunch of controversy around that.
There is that too, but there was a story that Futaba's English voice actor, or voice actress, I don't know what the politically correct term is anymore, voice person, and basically had their voice like used obviously in an AI generated to basically create like a fake song thing
that
they made. And she was like, hey, that's really creative, but also pretty fucked up that you literally just took my voice and made me say a thing and then made a thing with it. And then she got bullied off of Twitter. And she's like one of the nicest people in the world. So it's really fucked up. So yeah,
it's fucked because like all these comments about like people just losing their likeness because of all that.
Yep.
And I've seen like so many AI like I'm seeing like videos like, you know, like SpongeBob, for example, singing like Old Time Road and that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of like,
there are things being written into the Netflix contracts. I think I heard somebody say that where basically you have, they have like rights to your voices and all that kind of stuff in future projects.
So with the SAG-AFTRA strike that's happening at the moment, some of the clauses were basically that if you are like a background actor or like, you know, like not a main actor, but just, you know, like an extra or even like a small time actor, like a working actor, I should say. Like one of the contract things that were added to the contract is you get paid for once, and then we basically take a digital scan of you and everything that you do, and then we can use that in perpetuity until the heat death of the universe. So you get paid like $200, and then we can just use your likeness for whatever we want till the end of time.
And who decides that you're a small time actor?
Well, that's, I guess, like if you get offered a contract like that, that's the thing, right? Anyway, it's fucking insane.
No royalties,
anyway,
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% support the strike and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It also means that we're not going to be seeing we're going to be seeing a lot of reality TV and sports over the next few months, I think.
It's okay. Netflix will put like the 5th season of Circle and cooking show, reality stuff. Actually, what was the one that I saw the other day? It was like god awful. I turned it off after like 5-10 minutes. It was like reality TV. Like I was like, all right, cool. I'll watch something that's like MasterChef. Put it on. Yeah. It was them going into the room, and it's like it's MasterChef, but they vote each other out. And it was like god awful.
I can't do reality TV at all. It's just I need serialization, and I need plots, and I need writing.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, sort of back to the FTC stuff. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with the CMA, and if this kind of gets any kind of resistance and kind of like what this actually looks like. I know there were some rumors about a bunch of Activision games suddenly showing up on Game Pass.
Yeah, there was a 40-day statute that they had to create something that was actually usable, and they've got only a few days to do it. And so it's basically they're not going to be able to cobble something together in that time.
Yeah. No, of course not. There was also the Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass ad. I can't remember where it was now.
It was in Brazil or something.
Yeah.
I think it was. And
getting shut down.
It got shut down. Yeah, a couple of days ago, basically, just that it wasn't happening. It's obviously some sort of error. Or something that they're building for later, like much later.
I imagine like Diablo 4 will eventually hit Game Pass, but it'll be like it will be like once the people have paid the $70.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say once the seasonal content is like super well ingrained, and you know, and they'll
swap to like a pay to play kind of.
Pretty much. I mean, that's kind of how Game Pass works for a lot of their first party stuff.
The way I saw it was that it was like you have the existing content that won't be built into contracts until later. There'll be old content that will probably go straight into Game Pass, and then like super new, like new releases and unannounced stuff will go straight into Game Pass. But anything in like the last year or so window of them having that, getting the process started, there'll be like a bit of a delay, and it won't really.
Yeah, they're kind of sitting in limbo, right, where they have existing agreements or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, like they've got money to be made, and the game's already come out. Like if the game had been released after the acquisition, that might be a different story. But
they just need to give a whole bunch of money to that studio that what's the studio's name? The one that made the remake of Tony Hawk's Skater 1 and 2.
I'm trying to remember who they are.
I can't think of the name right now. We need 3 and 4.
Yeah, we definitely do. Was it Toys for Bob?
I don't think it was Toys for Bob. Toys
for Bob did Spyro. That's right. There is a rumor that apparently there is a new Spyro in the works, which is A+. I'm super excited.
I mean, look, okay, like in all seriousness, what do we think will hit Game Pass once it closes?
Probably some old Call of Duties. I imagine
legacy content.
Yeah, I think that like putting Black Ops,
Spyro
and
trilogy, something like that.
Spyro trilogy, putting the Crash trilogy on there would be a great.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Crash Team
I mean,
Racing.
they've got Crash Team Racing. I mean, they've got Crash Bandicoot 4 as well that they did.
Yeah.
It's About Time, which is still one of my favorite subtitles of all time. So clever. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think like Activision and like putting Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on there.
Diablo
would
2,
make
Diablo 3.
Yeah, they've got Resurrected and that sort of stuff. So why not, right?
I'm trying to remember with the Bethesda content, it was trickled in over time, right?
Actually, I think most of it.
Did we get like a bulk at once?
I remember it wasn't like as soon as it happened, but it was a certain period of time afterwards where they were just like, okay, Fallouts, Wolfensteins. I think it wasn't like
it was
everything,
big drops, but
we're still getting little bits.
Yeah, there was some big drops though.
Yeah, like they're getting some of the old stuff like Hexen and Heretic hitting the Windows Store.
Yeah,
which would be great to have, achievements, but they don't have them yet. But
yeah.
Great old games. So
yeah, but anyway. I mean, I think that like the Game Pass could use a few slightly larger headers or slightly more high profile games to come out.
Just Spyro is something for kids. Crash
and like new backwards compatible games because they own everything.
Actually, yeah, that's a good fucking point. I hadn't thought about that.
Bring back the Spider-Mans and the
I won't have them with Spider-Man.
Yeah, the license stuff is going to be a nightmare. But yeah, I get what you mean though.
Yeah.
You know what? Sony will pay out the ass to make sure that nothing Spider-Man hits.
If they could just bring up the old Transformer War for Cybertron and Fall for Cybertron servers, bring back the dead servers, just put them on Azure somewhere.
Nothing IP based or.
Yeah, no, that's the tricky bit, But yeah, actually, speaking of old trilogies, our next news story is there was the announcement that the Gex trilogy is coming out to modern consoles and in PC.
I did not know anything about this. I looked up the trailer before the podcast started, and I'm like, motherfuckers, just use the GoldenEye intro.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
100%. I mean, great.
Yeah. Did you guys even ever play the old Gex stuff?
I played Gex 2, Enter the Gecko.
Cool. Enter the Gecko. Yep.
Which awesome. I remember super, super well, and I love that game, even though the jokes made no sense to me because I was too young.
Yes.
And also they will make no sense to anyone who is our age, basically, at this point.
Yeah. It does sound like there was a bit of a quippy modern reference in the trailer for that one, though. So it started to use some influencer lines or something.
Hopefully they just redo all the lines to do modern stuff.
Actually, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they do like another one. Like it would, like it's a platformer. But so limited run games has basically invented this new carbon engine development thing that allows them to emulate a lot older stuff and bring it onto modern hardware to make these sort of stuff really interesting.
Yes. There's a lot of work going on with some other stuff, and that's how Shadow Man and stuff like that came across as well.
Exactly.
So there's a few more of those that I'd be looking out for as well. But yeah,
I wonder what the limit. I wonder what the limits of that emulation is, because I'm not sure if you guys. I hadn't added it in this, but I did see it earlier in the week. 87% of retro software is essentially lost to time.
Yeah, basically unplayable. It doesn't exist in any way outside of but you basically can't play it legally or acquire it legally.
Yeah.
Which is fucked. I know the Video Game Preservation Society were talking about it, and put out some numbers about it to kind of basically be like, hey, we should change the laws for this because like TV and movies and other kinds of stuff like that don't have these weird restrictions. Because they're historically relevant documents. I mean,
they don't have these weird restrictions, but we're starting to see that, like with Disney Plus took down that what was the show called? It's like some space kind of
Star Trek one?
No, not Star Trek. It was like a new IP. It'd been up since March. It essentially made them no money, and they basically we're removing completely.
That's the old streaming future though. But at least like at least it's like recorded somewhere. Like it's usually like available, but I know what you mean. Like
if it's digital only content though, and the server's getting taken off, then
what happens to it?
Yeah.
I guess the other thing is that like I guess the difference is that if you buy a VHS, you can you can still put that into a VHS and watch it. I get I know like the format stuff gets a bit murky around like, okay, well, if I buy an N64 game, what the fuck am I going to play it on?
Yeah.
Looking deeper into that article, if you scroll down to the bottom, you may have seen the article from the day before, and it's actually Limited Run Games announces Jurassic Park Classic Collection.
Yes.
And they said that they're reprinting on old NES, Game Boy, and SNES cartridges. They're reissuing some stuff.
Speaking of like old old physical media, wasn't the Grimace like the McDonald's thing? They were printing the Grimace birthday thing on like Game Boy game cartridges.
I don't know that. I don't know what that is.
Okay, they've been doing this like Grimace birthday campaign over in the States. I've seen so many like TikToks of like I tried the Grimace shake and I died.
I saw a lot. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to try one of the shakes while I was over there. But I did see a lot of the memes, and then I saw also the McDonald's Twitter account changing itself to be Grimace themed.
One of the marketing managers there like wrote down a whole like campaign thing on LinkedIn. It's like really fascinating to have a look at because they were so unsure. Like, all right, this is obviously like Gen Z humor. Do we engage with it? Do we just leave it alone and let it run its course? Like, what's the best course of action? But I won't bore everybody else over stuff that me and Matt find fascinating. But I swear I saw a post of like a Game Boy Color game of, a Game Boy game or a Game Boy Color game of Grimace's birthday. Like really well done poster. So I assume it's real, but it might be one of those just promotional.
I imagine it's probably just promotional, considering that no one even knew when Grimace's birthday was until this marketing campaign happened. But yeah, actually, I saw another thing from this Carbon Engine thing for one of the formative games of my youth, Tomba or Tombi, as we called it over here. It was on the original, I think, like PlayStation 1 demo disc when it came out. Pink-haired guy who jumps on pigs and it's like 2D side-scroller puzzler.
Yeah, I don't think I played that, and I had a lot of those PS1 discs. So.
I played it. Let me put it this way. I played the demo so much for the first the first 2 hours of the game. It's actually quite a big demo. I played so much of that demo that my dad would only let me play it on mute because the music was just so repetitive and annoying.
I remember the story. You've said this on the podcast before.
Yeah. And I talked about like how I'd love to play it again at some stage, and it looks like it is. They actually have managed to get it running on this new emulation engine. It looks like it's only coming to PlayStation and Switch at the moment, but hopefully maybe an Xbox port in the future.
Fingers crossed.
Because it isn't actually owned by Sony, even though it was on the PlayStation exclusively.
I did find the Grimace's birthday thing. So what it is there's a website where you can play it, but it is also a ROM file which you can download and put on your, like, for the technical savvy. Yeah, people, you can put it on a cartridge and play it on the 25-year-old hardware.
Wow. All right. Sure. I mean, nothing to stop you from making those kinds of games.
I guess, yeah, there's 100% nothing from, like, you're not worrying about the physical media and all that in that case.
Yeah,
why not?
Exactly. But again, like back to the sort of Gex thing. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm interested to see. I'm getting to that age where it's like nostalgia is kind of interesting to me, and kind of like those games that I played as a kid and didn't really get much into. A lot of the PlayStation 1 era stuff, the early 90s, where it's like, oh yeah, I kind of vaguely remember playing this weird game that I don't really remember much of, or I borrowed from a friend, or the classic MGS1 thing where we only had the first disc, so we got all the way through the Sniper Wolf boss fight and never saw the end of the fucking game, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm 100% playing the Metal Gear Collection when it comes out.
Yeah, me too.
Just for disc 2.
Yes, for Vulcan Raven and Metal Gear Rex and all that stuff.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna say, speaking of, like, I would love if they brought back Burnout 3 Takedown.
Yeah,
it's like
it's been a while since we've had a good Burnout game.
I wouldn't call Paradise a good game either.
I like Paradise a lot, but it's not the same. Yeah.
When you play stuff like Horizon or with fast travel, like, it needs something like that.
I think they did patch that. I don't even remember actually.
Speaking of racing car games, apparently there's a rumor going around that Need for Speed Most Wanted might be getting remade next
Yes,
year.
I was going to actually put that in there, but I ended up not. But it looks like there
Ah.
is going to be a remake, I guess, technically, because they did remake it back in 2012.
One every 10
of-
years.
Yeah, every 10 years they just bring it back, I guess.
So a remake of the Xbox 360 one, or a remake of the 2005 Xbox 360?
That's what I'm not sure about. I'm wondering if it's the 2000. I imagine it. Well,
Because there's 2005 and then 2012. It's
Yeah.
about time they brought back the 2005 one.
yeah, you would think,
So
right?
you need to get the secondhand copies down to a purchasable level, and the
Yeah.
only way to do that is to release a remake.
Exactly. But they got to keep all the terrible cutscenes
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would probably play that. I loved, like, Most Wanted was the first, like, one of the first Need for Speeds I played outside of Hot Pursuit, and I was like, I just fucking loved it.
Underground and Underground 2.
I do, yeah. Underground 2 is
they're
obviously,
Yeah,
Always my favorites.
yeah.
They'll
The
get
thing,
back to that.
yeah, the thing that I had in my playlist in my car every day was basically the Need for Speed soundtracks. So, yeah.
I'm with you. It was
Man,
like
video-
between them and Burnout. I mean, it was no wonder that Criterion basically became the Need for Speed. Ghost Games and Criterion basically became the Need for Speed developers.
Man, I miss the old like Need for Speed soundtracks. Like just that like early 2000s racing game, kind of like.
I mean,
chuck
I am
all
going to
pop
go
punk.
back to, I am going to go back and do Hot Pursuit, because I've been taking some stray shots on the fact that I still have not finished that game as everyone else finishes it. So I will go back and finish Hot Pursuit. Oh,
Matt, what's the matter?
You'll be
Why aren't you
You'll be
finishing your
fine.
racing games?
yeah, I know, right? I know.
It's one of the most playable games.
It's really cool. Like, I love the game. It's just also, but like, you want to talk about getting on fucking tilt is when you're trying to catch some fucking outlaws with your EMPs and stuff, and they're just dodging all over the place, and there's one left, and he escapes the last second.
It's okay. We know you're really tired.
Yes, yes, I'm very tired and grumpy. All right, let's move on to our next news story.
No, sorry, tired. Tired.
Tired. No, I got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your pun didn't pull through, so you had to point it out.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
Right,
Yeah,
cool. Classic.
It was really bad. So some stuff's happening in the Assassin's Creed franchise. We got a bit of a list of a bunch of Assassin's Creed games in development.
I like how you put Codename Red in here as targeting a 2024 release. I'm like, one game.
Let
me give you the rest of the 10.
Well, to be fair, the 11 news story was a little bit ago, but we didn't have like sort of dates around that stuff. But it looks like Codename Red, which I guess is going to be their next game, is they're finally pulling the Band-Aid off and doing the Japan game.
Yeah. Do we know much about it?
Not really. Only that they kind of announced it, and like, I mean, like, because even Codename Red is a code name, right? Like, they haven't announced what the actual name of the game is yet. So
I imagine it'll be like Feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, I think so. I mean, look, you'd have to be, right? It has to be like Shogun Ninja era. Otherwise, what are you fucking doing?
It's Ubisoft.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
We're releasing an Assassin's Creed game in modern day Japan. I'd probably still play it.
Still be kind of cool to be fair.
It'd give off Predator Concrete Jungle vibes.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God, that game was terrible, but it's such a cool idea. But so yeah, there's also like a bunch of other games that kind of been talked about. So like with Nexus, Jade, Red, Hex, the Nexus, that VR thing that they showed off. Apparently they've got like
God, that looks so bad.
It looks really bad. It was only a concept even so, and even then I was like, wow, if you can't make the concept look good, Jesus. It looks like, so Assassin's Creed Invictus is some sort of multiplayer game. Assassin's Creed Nebula, Assassin's Creed Raid, Assassin's Creed Echoes, which is another multiplayer game, and then a remake of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I think is probably a smart one considering they've already redone. They already they did a remaster. They've done remasters of all the other games.
Wait, so they're renaming Skull and Bones?
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag is going to be the inspired by Skull and Bones version of Assassin's Creed.
100% Skull and Bones is going to be given out as a freebie alongside the digital edition of
Actually, at this point,
Black
it'll
Flag.
probably Skull and Bones will be the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be like Wrecking Zone for Crackdown 3.
Oh god.
Well, I'm just thinking about like the thing is that the rumor is that the people working on the remake are Singapore, are Ubisoft Singapore, the people who are making Skull and Bones, which is so weird to me because Skull and Bones was built off of the tech from the original release of that game. I can't remember. I think it was Ubisoft Montreal who released. I'm pretty sure it was Ubisoft Montreal who released Black Flag originally. Ubisoft Singapore was supposed to be using that tech to make Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones has taken so fucking long that now they have been given the remake. They're like, well, you spent all this time building this fucking ship tech. You might as well use that and make the actual original game that you were inspired by.
Montreal, you're right.
Yeah, Montreal. Because I remember because the thing about Assassin's Creed 4 was that you were playing in the Abstergo offices that were obviously just modeled after the Ubisoft office in Montreal. Because everyone's French. French Canadian, very different. Yes, oui c'est ça. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about Assassin's Creed at this point? I think it's gone through, like thinking about the fact that there are 11 Assassin's Creed games planned. I mean,
they really had some good goodwill there for a second, knowing that Mirage was going to be like, a 30, like a smallish map kind of game, and then they just completely went like, and 10 more.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering. Yeah, like I think along that vein, I'm wondering what size these projects are going to be. Right? Like, I'm
scared.
I feel like they might be getting slightly back on track. Actually, because with the Mirage coming up and with how much cred the X Divine's getting, it might be all right. And honestly, I've been playing the mobile beta for the Division Resurgence.
Oh yes,
it's actually not bad. So it feels exactly like the Windows, the Xbox streaming app with like the digital buttons on the side, and they've loads and loads and loads of mobile options. If this is going to be any kind of indication like what their future mobile games are going to be like, there are tons of different options for tons of different types of devices to run like at all kinds of scales. So they're really thinking about what they're putting in their games at the moment.
I kind of wonder whether they're just going to follow a principle of established IP that they know have done really well from like Just Dance, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed. And then they're going to fill out the roster with the newer IP, like the IPs that they're getting the rights to, like Avatar and Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it does, like, from that Ubisoft showcase, and we talked about it a few weeks back, I think that pretty much everything on that list looked pretty fucking good. I was like, actually, like, I want to play most of this stuff, which is... It's been a long time since I've said that about Ubisoft.
I feel like Watch Dogs is dead, and that tech's going straight into that new Star Wars game.
Pretty much, yeah. They were like, exactly. It was basically like, hey, let's take some of the Division tech, let's take some of that Watch Dogs tech, because obviously Legion didn't do very well for them.
It sucks though, because Watch Dogs could have been something. Like if they've given up on Watch Dogs, it's from their own accord.
Oh, 100%. They fucked it. They fucked it completely. Like I think that Watch Dogs 1 was a really interesting kind of modern take on an Assassin's Creed game with some tech stuff, and then the second game was kind of more of its own thing a little bit. And then Legion was kind of even from the get-go, I think everyone was kind of like,
yeah, they can just take all that tech and put it little bits in different games, and they'll be perfectly fine because it's perfectly good tech. They just made a mess of it. So
yeah, so like I am very excited, and like I'm really interested to see. I mean, the talk is that this codename Red game will be like apparently will have 2 playable characters, has like a more, it's like more emphasis on stealth, which I think if you're doing a Ninja Shinobi game makes a lot of sense.
Okay, here's a question for you then. Obviously, like compared to something like Valhalla was like a massive time sink that nobody had the patience for.
It was a fucking slog. Yeah.
If you How would you feel if we found out that 5 of these Assassin's Creed games were going to be like, Mirage kind of, let's say Mirage length is like 30 to 40 hours. Like one
Perfect.
and done.
I mean, that's essentially, that's what they used to do, right?
Yeah.
It was Assassin's Creed, like 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and even 3, even though 3 kind of was getting on the long side of things, right? Those were all like 20 to 30 hour games for the most part.
What if you had like a 20 to 30 hour game coming out every 6 months? Would you still be an Assassin's Creed fan?
Yeah, I think it would very much come down to the setting and the mechanics. Like, I feel like, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just put something out there. What platforms are we looking at with Ubisoft Plus now?
True.
Like, I've said this like everywhere I could say it. Pretty much no one is going to Ubisoft Plus for any of the older games unless they don't have the DLC, because they all have the damn things. We own all of those games and we bought all of those games. The only value in Ubisoft Plus is what's coming up. And if they can get games coming out consistently, then they'll have people just going to Ubisoft Plus and not buying their games.
What if you're a newbie, though? What if you're jumping in for the first time? That's like when you'll jump into it.
I mean, we have this discussion about Game Pass a lot, right? Around Game Pass being the best value for someone who's never played a fucking video game in their life, and the value goes down the more video games you've ever played. Not to say that it's bad value by any means, right? But when Game Pass started, the vast majority were stuff that had already been out, things that things that people already played, things that had been on deep discounts, and Ubisoft games were included. I think that. I also think that if you are going to Ubisoft Plus now, there's also not a lot in there on the old catalog that is super worth playing. Okay, let me put it this way. I like Assassin's Creed 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, right? But telling someone to go back and play the old version of that is kind of like, we've come a long way since then. I mean, obviously, I know there's the Ezio collection, right?
I was going to say, you just tell them to play the Ezio collection.
Sure, but even then, that is a coat of paint. That is not a remake, right? They barely remastered it. They kind of just ported it.
Yeah,
I know, but I still think somebody playing wanting an Assassin's Creed game today, the Ezio collection would still be a.
Oh, sure. Like I think it's a good shout, but I also think that. It's based on I think the kind of person who hasn't already played an Ubisoft game, like this kind of theoretical person that we're talking about, I don't think would get a lot of value out of that or get a lot of interest out of that if they haven't already played similar games in that kind of vein already.
The thing with Plus is, for me, and I'm probably going to, Crew Motorfest comes out in September.
Yeah.
I was on the fence about it. I'm probably going to get a month of Ubisoft Plus, play as much of it as I can stomach in that month.
But
then the thing is, Mirage is going to come out the next month. So I'm probably going to start playing Assassin's Creed Mirage, and then I'm going to really get into say I get sick of it, I'll spend a few hours back on Motorfest, come back. Then I might wait a few months, and then Avatar will be out. And then I'll get a subscription again. And I'll play that. And I'll clean up my old games. I can see myself doing it with the day ones when it comes to something if I had a... You know what? If it came to PlayStation's games being day one in their service, I'd probably go out and buy a PlayStation just to get the experience of playing Spider-Man or God of War or something like that. I'll just do it for a month and then I'll just, wait a bit more. Even if it's an $800 price tag per entry.
I guess the good thing is that when we're talking about these services that are owned by the companies putting out the game, the companies who own the games putting it out on their own services, it's not like Game Pass where you're like, shit, I need to probably start this relatively soon, otherwise it might get pulled. Yeah. That's the thing about Microsoft games. Every time one comes out to Game Pass, I'm always like, great, I'll put that in the backlog because obviously it's not going anywhere. Yep. Double Fine puts out Double Fine brings out a game. I'm like, unless it's absolutely stellar, I need to play it right now. I've got other things that I want to try first.
Double Fine brings back a delisted game.
Yeah, looking at Cave, which, man, more people need to have played that game. It is.
Have you got the completion?
I do. Yeah.
How was the no diff run?
It's a pain.
Okay.
But because the way the cave works is because you can choose your characters, you can basically pick the characters that have the easiest one. So it's not overly difficult, but obviously it is a bit like, you can fuck it up. But it's also not a super long game either.
Yeah. But I mean, the only thing I like with all these Ubisoft stuff is I really wish they'd go back and like I'd love to like sink time into the Division 2. But everybody other than Keo is like playing on PC that I know. And I don't want to.
Yeah, well, I'm playing on PlayStation now because it's the platform that I haven't gotten the completion for. So because I've finished, the Division 1 on both platforms and I'm working through Division 2. I loaded it up like a couple of days ago. Like I'm still actively playing it. So
hopefully the next game has crossplay.
Fingers crossed. I think that would be smart.
It's like
that was the problem with Division 2. They couldn't work out it was way too hard for them to just join all of the platforms together.
It's why Diablo's like been one of my funnest experiences this year because the crossplay is it's so good. It's so easy to jump on PC with my mates from back in high school that just play PC gaming religiously.
Oh, I'm gonna have to play that fucking game, aren't I? I mean, I am.
Yeah,
I'm umming and ahhing about it. I know. Yeah,
it's good to play with people that you haven't had a chance to play a game with, like because you're being on Xbox essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
speaking of things coming out to Xbox, do you want to talk a little bit about the Demo Fest?
Yeah, so I did not know this was a thing until today. ID at Xbox is doing a Demo Fest at the moment and running to July 17th. I imagine this would be Steam just had its next fest 2 weeks ago, roughly, followed by Summer Sale. So it's essentially like Xbox's response to that. There's been a whole bunch of games that have been added. We've kind of just picked a few from the list that are like really interested in us. Starting straight off, I'm going to go Liza P. So I actually played the demo back at the FanFest event. And it's just a really good Souls-like. It's a really polished Souls-like for I think this is like their first game, right? The studio? I don't know what the
Yes, I'm not sure. Actually.
I need to double check that. But thrilling Souls-like that takes the story Pinocchio. We know it's hitting Game Pass in September. I would just like download it, give it a go just to get a try of it because it has that, it has that fluid Souls-like kind of experience. But yeah, WrestleQuest was one that I saw at PAX East. It was WrestleQuest and I think Wrestle Story. Yeah, Wrestle RPGs are a thing now.
Wrestling's coming back in a big way, right?
Yeah, so pro wrestling and RPG, fantasy collide in the ultimate pixel-powered adventure. Macho Man, Randy Savage, and tons of other icons offer guidance as you powerbomb your way to glory beyond the ring. I didn't get a chance to play it, but like it just looked great. Art style looked great. I'm probably going to give it a try. And then the other one that nearly, like, when I was going for this list, I was like, oh, they made a spin-off to this? Scare Ritual is a round-based co-op survival FPS with up to 4 players where you must survive the supernatural onslaught of the Quiet Ones. I was like, this looks very similar to Call of Duty Zombies. So I was looking at reviews. It's 100% inspired from Zombies.
Yeah, they were like, hey, that Wales interactive game with that really interesting narrative stuff, let's put some fucking guns and shit in there.
Let's make it a 4-player co-op survival FPS. And I was like looking at the trailer for it. I was, like, it's on early access on Steam at the moment. I think it's been that way since October of last year. And I was like, this looks really good. So I might actually play this when the full game comes out. Hopefully it hits Game Pass, but I'm not too sure. Like, these are just, I did get Xbox demos, but yeah, some really good stuff there. A few of the other ones that I would point out is like The Wandering Village, but I'm not going to play the demo when I know I can play it in a few days anyway. Sea of Stars, which we know will be hitting Game Pass sometime this year. I think it's September, if I'm not mistaken.
September, I think it was, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, some really good games on this list. I really recommend, like,
Yeah, well, I've got a shout out to Kiku because he's like,
Oh,
download this demo and play it with me, and and he's like, oh, Marble It Up Ultra, and it's basically inspired. Well, it's the spiritual successor to Marble Blast Ultra on the 360,
Mm.
and the ones that have come before it. And he's just got me right into doing that, and I'm like, yeah, cool, it's a nice little marble game. And then you play the multiplayer of that, and it is streamer bait, like 100%,
Oh yeah.
like all the classic, like there's a classic gem hunt mode where you just against other people gather gems, but then you've got a zombie mode where you have to attack everyone, and there is straight up a Rocket League like just
Uh,
rip off with
Amazing.
marbles, and it is so much fun. It is actually really good, and I would play like it's a community day kind of thing. So, and that
Gotcha.
was really,
yeah.
really good. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff on this list that I've like. Some of it I've never heard of. Some of it I've kind of heard on the periphery.
Mm.
Ghost Trick is on there. Phantom Detective.
Yep.
Ghost Trick, Phantom
Oh
Detective.
yeah, I saw Ghost
People
Trick
just
and
need
I
to.
knew that you were going to talk about it.
People need to buy it. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
great that there's a demo, but people just need to buy the fucking game. So that they can prove that it is actually successful.
This
Like,
was
much
the
like
DS one, right?
Yeah, it was
Yes,
the
it
one that
was.
was. Yeah, it was the same guy who did Ace Attorney.
Yeah, cool.
So it is basically it is you are a ghost and you have to basically solve puzzles. Like you can go back in time to prevent deaths. So you have to like do certain things. Like it's like kind of like Rube Goldberg machine kind of stuff. Like make this happen to make this happen, make this happen to make this happen, to make a door shut so someone looks over here so they don't see this thing happen. All this kind of thing. Yeah, such a great game. I'm probably actually just going to pick it up because I want to play through it again because it's been so many years. Also, like I said in the other episode, has a great dance in it that I believe that the head developer does live on stage sometimes. Yeah, look, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I don't usually play a lot of demos and stuff, but it is really cool to see this this thing being like, hey, yeah, just download a bunch of this stuff and give it a try, like because you don't really see a lot of demos.
I mean, we're achieving like honestly, like I highly recommend when one of these events comes down, just free like a few hours a night and just really try some.
Yeah. Well, even with the marble one, Kiku's been questioning the dev and saying like what carries over to the main game, and it looks like the only thing that's not carrying over is leaderboards. So he's going through and just getting all the achievements in the game. It says achievement unlocked on the screen, but it doesn't unlock the achievements. He's like, as long as it's not broken when it comes out, he may very well have the first completion. Besides there's only like 20 single player levels, and you have to do all 120 or whatever.
Jeez,
Find all the secrets.
What first does he have? He's got Full Guys now, Among Us,
Oh,
and he's gonna go for
Among Us.
I don't know. Actually, you might not have had Among Us anymore with the update.
Maybe
Can't
not.
remember. But yeah, like I definitely recommend just like putting a night aside. That's how I found like Loop Hero. Not Loop Hero, Loot River.
Oh yeah.
And like I really enjoyed Loot River, and it was very basic when it was first the demo. And I mean, these devs like putting the time to make these demos out too.
And they're listening to people if you ask questions.
Yep.
So ask questions.
They want the feedback for the final product.
Yeah.
All right. Cameron, do you want to run quickly through Game Pass updates?
All right. So, yeah, cool. All right. Commonhood we got coming out on July 11th, which is already passed. Insurgency Sandstorm hit PC. I believe it was already out on Xbox.
Yep.
Exoprimal's coming out today. Dinosaurs and Guns, I believe.
Yeah, the achievement list just came out. Looks like a relatively standard kind of horde-based shooter.
Nice. I don't think anybody was going to buy this.
No, I think Game Pass is very smart for Capcom to do that. Maybe we should get a team together once the game's proven not to be broken.
Yeah, I'd be 100% happy for that. Tectonica game preview July 18th. The Cave, which was previously delisted, coming back on July 18th, which I believe is the 360 backwards compatibility version.
I don't know if they've confirmed that. That's the rumor. But
we have games with gold at one point, so I'm pretty sure.
Was it? Okay. I mean, I definitely bought it.
I'm only basing that off the article in TA that linked that.
Yeah, because I don't think they have a separate list or anything. So we're actually not quite sure if it's like a new list or if it's just a backwards compatible emulation.
Maquette, which comes out July 19th. I honestly don't know anything about these games up until this. Wandering Village, July 20th. I'm 100% going to jump into this. I love how, like, I've loved this ever since I learnt of Stray Fawn. And the game's obviously done really well for them because they were a development studio that's now gone publisher as well.
Right.
And I also like the fact that they retweet all my City Builder stuff on Twitter because they're nice people.
Yeah, I mean, that is the...
No.
That is also that. And then Vemba, which is the cooking narrative one, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few TikToks on that. That looks pretty cool.
I like the art style.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's just like, short narrative kind of,
It's like coffee talk style, like
kind of thing, yeah. And then we got XO1, Paw Patrol, Adventure City Calls, and Spelunky 2 leaving. I can't remember if Adventure City Calls is the Dark Souls one.
The Dark Souls one?
Okay, so if it's the one I'm thinking of, essentially what you'll do is you'll play the levels, but there's like a racing, not like racing, it's like an on-grid kind of collect the coins kind of thing.
Yes.
And you've got to get 100% of the coins for the achievement.
Yes.
Problem is, the loading for him is so goddamn awful.
This is the right one. Yes,
Okay.
This is the one you were describing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have to repeat the missions. I hate it. I'm probably not going to touch it before it leaves Game Pass.
I did it. And I will talk a little bit about it. But yes. But it's I'm glad. I was very glad to see while I was away that it was a short list of stuff that was leaving, so I didn't have to worry too much.
July is usually a short list. The end of June's the rough one.
Yeah, Spelunky 2, I mean, good fucking luck. And also XO1 has looked like quite a difficult list as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into what I've been playing then. I have not been playing a huge amount, obviously, since I've been away for the last few weeks. So I will just quickly go through. So I did do Paw Patrol game. It was bad. Not really much to say there. I had to redo a few levels a few times because of that exact thing of like not missing any of the stuff on the rail segments that were just trash, and then the mini games were just like 50% of the mini games were more on rail sections, which is also trash. But I decided to work on some Windows games while I was away because I had my laptop with me. So I started doing Wreckfest, which I've been doing both versions of. And so I just finished up the Xbox version today, and I have just 2 achievements left in the Windows version. Fun. I actually really enjoyed it. It is a relatively straightforward racing game with some like durability mechanics, and you can smack people off the road and stuff. And the cool thing is that if you set it to realistic difficulty on the damage and low driver skill, the drivers will often just smash themselves out, and you can just kind of just waltz your way down to the end of the level.
Nice.
But I've had a pretty good time with it. It does, the career mode is maybe a couple of events too long. Because by the time you get to like the final batch of stuff to do, you've kind of seen all the maps already and kind of raced them all. And then they're like, hey, instead of doing like a relatively short, like 3 to 4 minute 3-lap race, let's do a bunch of 6 and 12 lap races. And you're like, okay.
It just takes the length on. The main problem I have with it is just the fact that you've got your main win condition, like win the race or like come first, and then you've got your knock 4 people off track on. Or
yeah, but you don't have to do any of those ones at least.
Isn't there one for achievement?
There's one for doing challenges in general, like the challenge levels, but you don't have to do any of the optional objectives at all.
Oh, right, good.
I
would yet to do that, so...
Yeah, because I had a look at that and I thought I had to do that as well, but then I was like, oh wait, but I don't have to do every single race, so obviously that can't be the achievement.
That's good to know then.
Yes, so if you're doing that, you like the little optional objectives for each race, you don't have to do any of those. They do give you some more extra experience, but you can boost it pretty easily. I've been enjoying. I enjoyed it enough to play through it twice, basically, in a short period of time. So it's nice that it has that it's the level of difficulty for a racing game that I'm pretty happy with in terms of like it can have a little bit of challenge to it, and sometimes it can be a bit frustrating, but I didn't really struggle too much, which is nice. But it is definitely like a sort of like it's a budget title or like a slightly cheaper title because obviously there's no real cars in the game and there's a little bit of like a variety in the kind of races there are. I do like some of the challenge stuff though, where they're kind of racing a sofa or.
I was gonna say no real cars, and I've seen many TikToks of people riding sofas through.
Well, okay, yes, riding sofas and lawnmowers, yes, but there's no brand names, And you know,
Gears rolling.
but I think that like it has a little bit of whimsy to it, a little bit of fun with it, but I think it just overstays the welcome just a little bit. And so I'm going to drag Cameron in to help me out with the last couple of multiplayer, last multiplayer achievement.
Honestly, I've been playing the Windows version of the Rogue Ally. My main gripe with it is it chews through the battery like no tomorrow. Like even just playing like a medium settings, it's really bad.
Yeah, on the PC, I cranked everything down to low because I was like, it was making my laptop like want to like sound like a jet engine.
But like, messing around with the settings, making like how did I set it up again? I set it in such a way like Percy was doing like the demolition stuff for me. I would just like on the weekend, it's like, well, we'll just sit on the bed, we'll watch some cartoon or something, and she'll ask me if she wants to play, and we'll like take it in turns. I'll do a race and she'll do the demolition stuff for me.
Right.
Because it's like she just needs to hit into stuff.
Just drive into things, yeah.
No, it's not going to take a 4-year-old like much to figure out to drive into something.
No, exactly. It's a kind of almost a natural instinct.
Yeah.
I also did the Windows version of Death's Door, which I talked about ages ago when I first played it.
Have they fixed any quality of life stuff around the seats?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. I was a little bit like, I know it got a lot of really good reviews when it first came out, and I was kind of middling on it. I was like, it's like a 6 or a 7, like it's pretty good. But actually going back and playing it now, I think it's a really, really good game. I think that it has the right amount of scope and scale to it that a game like that should have. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And also, speccing into magic makes the game so much more fun.
Yeah.
I think the one of the biggest problems I had was having to use the umbrella basically literally halves your damage. And so when I played through it the first time, I was like, well, I need to put all my points into strength to try and counteract that. But in this playthrough, I put everything into magic and dodging, and just basically just started like, I would just hit enemies to get my magic back, and then just start spamming arrows and bombs and stuff, and playing it more like a twin stick. Really enjoyed it. The walkthrough on TA is fantastic, by the way. It was really, really good, so I would definitely recommend that. I was actually quite impressed with that.
I wish they'd done some quality of life, just to like, I'm missing like 2 seats or something, and I just can't find out where they are.
Well, they should be, once you finish the game, it should outline on the doors. There should be like a red
look.
I would say it should.
Once you finish the game, if you haven't got the 100% achievement, I think it shows which areas you're missing something in, but it won't tell you where it is. Obviously,
will it tell you where you need to plant them?
That I'm not sure.
Maybe that's the thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure I've only got 2 achievements left, and it's saying like the 100% ending and the seeds.
Yeah.
So I need to get that done, actually.
And then a recent addition to Game Pass, Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch, just got added the other week. It is a side-scrolling Metroidvania where you play a rabbit with a big fucking fist on his back that punches things. It's fucking great. It's really good. If you like Metroidvanias at all, you've already played this. So I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but you can play it on easy. There's basically nothing missable. It's quite a large world. Like, there's actually like every time I started playing, I was like, oh, there's actually quite a few zones in this game. It does the great thing of as you get abilities, you eventually just get abilities that kind of break the game in a really fun way of like the traversal stuff. There's a little bit too much backtracking, but whatever, it's fine. It's Metroidvania. I had a fantastic time with it.
Are we talking break the game as in like, what was the game called that left Game Pass?
Bloodstained?
No, it was the it's not Metroidvania, but like when everything goes, you basically got god powers when you get a little
kind of. It's not quite to that extent, but that is my favorite thing in Metroidvanias is when you like get to the end of the game and they give you something that's like, it's like, you were doing like double jumps or trying to like, dodge through the stuff, and now you can just fly through it. So I would highly recommend this. This game's really, really good. It's not super long. I got it done, I think, like 12 to 15 hours or something. I think the estimate is like 15 to 20. like I said, nothing missable. The story is kind of but it's really, really cool. It's got like puzzles, it's got some decent combat, but you can play it on easy. I don't think I died once on easy, so it's really straightforward. And like there's got like a combo system. You've got like 3 different like weapon types you can get. I would definitely recommend it. Jump on it if you're like even slightly interested in those kinds of games. And also it doesn't have like a speed run achievement or a no death achievement or any of that bullshit that I absolutely hate in those kinds of games.
Oh man, I'm thinking this game is like on the tip of my tongue. It's the one that left Game Pass not too like probably in the last 3-4 months. That was your computer code that you gradually upgrade yourself, and then like the end of the game is like you're essentially God mode.
Yeah, the one with the jetpack thing.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah, I know.
I don't know what that is.
With like the massive traversal,
the virus one or whatever. Yeah. I can't remember what that was called, but
I can't think of the name, but that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, it is like that kind of thing where they basically just like break the game. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. And then I also just the last one I started was Everspace 2. After Aftos highly recommended it.
I'm twisted.
I mean, look, he didn't have to twist my arm too far, to be fair, because I played the first hour of this and I was like, this is my fucking jam. This shit is great. It is a arcadey as fuck space combat sim where you basically like, they're like, hey, put you in a ship, go do some missions. All right, it's like, okay, you got to destroy this base. You kill off some enemies. These guys come up. It's like one guy's wearing armor, so you want to hit him with a corrosive missile. This guy's got shields, so you want to make sure you're using a laser weapon on him. And then you want to get in close and switch to an auto cannon that does more like armor damage and hull damage. And when you blow him up, he drops a shield generator that's 20% better than one you've got. Like it recharges 20% faster, or it has more capacity, or you have like a faster engine, or you get a brand new ship with different weapon points and all kinds of shit. And then just like a whole crafting system where you can be like, okay, well, anything I find that I don't need, I can disassemble it, or if you want to be really fucking, freelancer about it, you can be like, okay, I found a cargo container of ramen that is like really, really common in this area. But if I take it to a space station on the other side of the system, I can sell it for twice of what it's worth and make a bunch of credits and go and buy myself a new ship or some new armor or a new weapon.
Yeah, okay.
It's fucking great.
Can you just wait till Starfield comes out like the rest of us?
No, fuck that stuff. Like Starfield's got nothing on this. Like the thing is with Starfield is that like it's going to be like the Starship part is going to be a very small segment where this is all Starship stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. I love these kinds of games. Like I really enjoyed Dark Star 1. I'm trying to think of the other ones. There are other ones that I've played. What was the one that Chorus, like stuff like that.
Yeah. When I saw this, the first thing that popped in my head was Chorus.
Yeah, like this is like Chorus was more arcadey. This has got like some more RPG mechanics to it a little bit. Whereas like Chorus had like powers and stuff. This is like no, like you get like it's more techy. It's like you get like a specific weapon types that you put on your ship and stuff. It very much reminds me of Freelancer back in the day, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Really, really enjoy. I've only put like maybe 5 or 6 hours into it. They did just announce that it's coming to Game Pass in August on console as well, which is fucking annoying because I would have preferred to play it on the Series X. I don't know if it's going to be a separate list or not, but I'm hoping that it's going to just be like play anywhere.
I was debating starting it on the Ally, but I'm kind of like I might just wait.
I would just wait. I mean, it plays pretty well on a gamepad. I did need to like there's like some recommended like remapping of controls that make it a lot like easier to play. But I'm having a great time. But this is my new project game. Basically, I'm going to be putting because it's on PC.
It looks like it's going to be like an 80-hour thing.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably get it done a little bit quicker than that. But there's a lot of content there. I think the story is like 30 hours on its own, and then there's heaps of side stuff. But that's me again. I haven't been playing like a lot, but it has been 2 weeks. I've just been kind of chipping away at smaller stuff on the PC while I've been away. So that's me. Cool. Kia, what about you?
I have been jumping around a lot. I guess I ended up picking up a lot of work days this week, so I'm like, oh well, I've got Far Cry Instinct's Predator sitting there with 80 hours of multiplayer to do. So I pretty much just went, I'll just chuck this in here and I'll just turn it on and leave them. let's just not look after the environment for a few days.
Yep.
And
Burn a few
just
trees.
basically, yeah, left it running for the multiplayer Uber Geek 80-hour
Oh, so
achievement.
is that the old like 360 version?
The 360 version, yep, where you had to play multiplayer for 80 hours, and all you had to do was load up a custom map, which I had access to a decent one,
Hmm.
and that had like all the goodies on it. So if anyone jumped in with me, they could basically get all their kills. Like Todd was, he
Oh.
jumped in and helped. So he kind of jumped in and he did all his kills. Well, he started doing it. He hasn't done a lot of it, but as soon as you've played the map, you can kind of take that map and go in and yourself by yourself. So I was pretty much just in this map by myself for 80 hours, just letting it idle for 45 minutes at a time.
Have you
So you had
done
to
the
do
single player for that as well?
not yet, no. So my general rule of thumb is but to do all of the multiplayer in every
Yeah.
version of every game
Yeah.
before going back and doing so the only Far Cry games I haven't got the multiplayer in is there's a co-op achievement in New Dawn, and there is some stuff in Far Cry 6, but I don't own Far Cry 6, so I haven't done either of those. So, but yeah, I've got the multiplayer in every other Far Cry now. So done. Far Cry
Yeah.
2, everything. Because I did Far Cry 2 this year too. So, mm. So that was that. I've been jumping into Destiny again on the 360 and tidying up well, I'm doing the Warlock story because it's the last one I have to get all of the subclass leveled up to maximum in. And then it's just burn through the DLC achievements that I never did, which is do 4 missions for this achievement, 4 missions for this, and a couple of those things. By that point, it'd be nice to have 1 or 2 people to actually play with. So
I need to do
jump in at
King's
any
Fall on
time.
hard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty much ready to go with a character to get into the raid because, on TA and stuff, people are like, be minimum level this, light level
I
this
need to have
before
a
you can
look.
jump in and play with us. I'm like, okay, well, I'll at least do that. So I've got a character
My
ready to
my light
go.
level won't be
Um,
the issue. It'll be the fact that I've
mm.
played nothing in the last few years and completely forgotten everything.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just try and get a little group of us together that actually know each other and can tolerate if we make mistakes or something. If there's enough of us that need to jump in and do the 360 raid, like
All right,
shout out
so Matt's
community
not
if you
coming.
need the raid for
I
Destiny
mean,
360.
maybe I don't own it, so that does make it
Maybe.
difficult.
Oh, oh, hey, yeah, might not be something you want to
Yeah.
start then.
Nah.
But yeah,
I think your
That'll be
time's
good.
passed, buddy.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah. So ready to go. Need to get that raid out, knocked out. There's a few of us that are. You just also have to get to the point where you unlock the raid, so you pretty much need to be ready. I also did Lara Croft in the Temple of Osiris, on the one. So it's not there was another one where Kiku's like, oh, let's jump in and do a game. So it's the top-down twin stick shooter. It's one of them, one of the two. It's
Yeah,
like a
because it was
four-player
Guardian
co-op.
of Light was the first one on the 360, I
Yes,
think.
yeah, yeah. So and with that one, I was like had no friends that had the game at the time and was just loading up the old Xbox One app, putting 3 controllers on the Xbox One app and co-oping to my Xbox console through
Wow.
to get the multiplayer stuff for that one. But for this one, I'm like, oh, I didn't actually realize I didn't have the multiplayer done in it. And it was
Mm.
just load up and do 5 co-op dungeons or something. So it unlocked fine for Kiku, but it did not unlock for me. And
I've had some achievement problems with
mm,
that game as well. When I've
yeah,
been trying to
so
unlock multiple things at once, sometimes it'll unlock some but not others.
yes, okay. Yeah, so I've gone ahead and I finished the story in that just before starting
Oh.
the podcast. So I had one story achievement did not unlocked, and that's probably
Mm.
because the other achievement did unlocked. So and I'll go through and I'll finish everything else and then go back and try and get that co-op one. I might have to start a new playthrough for it because we tried a few dungeons and it did not unlock after that. So might have to start a fresh save. I think I've been jumping around with racing games as well. I loaded up I think last week Need for Speed Unbound and did a bunch of the multiplayer stuff. Um, all of that's done. One of the achievements in that is also not unlocking. The multiplayer S tier, you have to go through and do I think it's like B, A, S, S plus versions of playlists,
Hmm.
and everything unlocked except for the S. So we've
Oh,
done it multiple times, multiple days, and it is not unlocking. And then you have to get somebody, you have to get 8 people in to do a playlist of 8 players. And the problem with that one is that if someone leaves after the first race of 3 races, then you don't get it. So it's easy enough with 16-player lobbies to get people in at the right time to do it, but nobody's staying the whole time.
Right.
So you kind of need maybe a group of 4 of us and another 4 randoms to join or something. So I'm working on that with Todd and someone else trying to get that sorted. So I went and then did WRC 1 on the 360. So this is the WRC 2010, and for quite a while now, it's had a achievement discontinued tab on True Achievements.
Hmm.
And earlier on in the week, well, late last week, Crisis, a friend of a few of us, was on one of the Discords and said, "I went and did this, and it unlocked." And because the problem with the game is it has issues where some tracks don't allow you to unlock certain, like it just doesn't talk to the server properly,
Right.
unlike
yeah.
France and stuff like that. But there was one particular track he went to, and the issue with the achievement I was going for was called the Haunted Net. It's get top 10 in the leaderboard on that server so that you can upload a ghost. So the server leaderboard has 100 people, but the only way you can upload a ghost is if you get top 10 in the all-time top 10 of that time trial track.
Wow.
So this is the thing I was doing for 3 days. So after Crisis got it, I went in and I'm like, right, I'm gonna do this. I don't have the DLC with the faster car that he has, but I'll try it with this other base game car. It was a Citroen C4, and it was the only thing that was like it was top 3 spot on that leaderboard. So there was at least one non-DLC car that was hitting a good time.
Mm.
So I come back for 3 nights at a time, popping in, trying to get better and better and better at the track, hit my head against the wall, and then eventually, I was in a party with Shadow and a couple other people. And I'm like, guys, I did this thing. Yeah, and the discontinued tag wasn't taken off by the time Crisis did it. They hadn't done that yet, but it was pretty much confirming that you could still get the achievement. It wasn't discontinued. It's just got ridiculous requirements because the leaderboard is basically maxed out with some of the fastest times. You can go to any track in the game and go and do it, but then some don't work for
Mm.
uploading and some do. And this just turned out to be a good one, and I turned out to be good enough at rally games because it's kind of my thing to actually get this. So there's another good, I guess, overturn of the discontinued tab that was good too. So
Nicely
that's a
done.
nice one for
Hmm.
the week. Um, after doing that. I'm like, well, let's go back and see what other Need for Speed games I can do. And I'm like, well, the other one everyone has trouble with is the self-titled Need for Speed game on the one that
Oh
people
boy.
just
Yep.
absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to get in and do this because they all have online only tags because it's a server online based
Yep.
game. So I'm like, well, I reckon I could probably pull this off, but I have to do the stories and all that kind of stuff and get the build set up and
Yeah.
things. And that's barely started. So I get to, watch the trashy cutscenes, because, not many of those Need for Speed games now have real actors in them doing real
Yeah, I
story.
remember when this one came out and everyone's like, man, this is some cringe shit. Holy fuck.
Mm. It's
Oh boy.
amazing. It's really, really nice to kind of see that again, though. So, I mean,
Mm.
you're only really seeing that in things like all those FMV movie games and stuff like that these days. So,
Buzz Interactive, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I reckon it's probably about time they did bring that back, and they could very well do it with Most Wanted or something if they did that again. So, but it just depends on where people are at with you know, their budgets and what they're doing with these games these days. So we don't know if we're going to see that again now in
Mm.
something in a first party AAA, well, third party AAA, title. I
Mm.
don't know if we'll get it. So, but yeah, that's basically been me. So it's been a journey for the last couple of weeks with these games trying to knock out some big stuff and hit some heavy, hard achievements. So, but yeah, Cameron, what have you been doing?
All right. So I've been bouncing around. One of my streamer friends started doing Minecraft again.
Mhm.
Started a realm, so we played a night of that. Got my house filled up with cows. Thanks, Cannon. Appreciate it. But it kind of like itched that scratch of like, oh, I haven't done the latest few title updates. So I jumped off after my house was filled with cows, and I did the Xbox version, then the Windows version, and then I attempted to do the Android version. I've got every achievement but the dried kelp one. But whatever. So I used a realm. I joined in, and I'd get to like it's like eat nothing but dried kelp for 3 days. Get to 2 days, get kicked from the server. Log back in, try again. Get kicked from. I'm just gonna hold off until there's another title update. But essentially, like those 3 were done. Other than that, me, Keo, Todd, and Brad did some of Warhammer End Times on Veritide the other day.
Yes, I forgot to mention that.
Which is interesting.
Yes, it is interesting.
It's very much a early Xbox One title.
So it plays like shit.
Plays like shit. Difficult. If you pick up a tome, you need to carry a tome to the end of the level for achievement. We basically went through, got the collectibles, which you've got to hold on. So there was 3 collectibles in the first mission. There's 4 of us. So pretty much like nearly each of us have to have something in an inventory slot, which we've got 3 inventory slots.
It takes up an inventory slot. And if you drop it to pick up something else,
you got to pick it back up.
You have to pick it back up.
Oh, it's like one of those ones.
And if you die out of the zone when everyone else has run forward, you drop it.
Yeah.
And you can't pick it up.
And then I'm pretty sure if you go too quickly, you get more enemies and it becomes harder. Saying that we were playing on normal for our first thing, and it's very much like a, procedural get your gear, and then we should start off like easy kind of thing. Yeah. It wasn't too bad though. We were having a bit of fun with it. It was just like trying to understand, I guess, the strategy involved with it early on. Right. But we got like 8 or 9 achievements off the bat. It was all right. I've been playing a lot of Wolong while Matt's been gone.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, me and my buddy Stubby have just been, like, co-oping this. I'm currently in the 2nd story mission of part 6. So,
okay,
I think
towards the end there.
Yeah, I'm pretty towards the end. The problem we're having, though, is, like, obviously we're doing it as a co-op. Like, we're doing it together. Every single time with that particular mission, it just crashes. Like, it's, like, we've had such a flawless experience the whole game. If people dropped it, if people joined, we might have like the odd disconnection. We had one that basically was on the, an Act 4 map where you got like the shipyard kind of thing, and it's like a maze.
Yes.
Absolutely hate that level design.
The one with the basically we can fall in the water really easily.
Yeah. Absolute pain in the ass. Got to the very end, everything got completely wiped, and none of the progress saved. So we started again, played it again the next night. Got it done in like 50 minutes or so. It's just that thing of like, all right, cool. I'll bang my head against the wall, but I'm repeating something because of shitty servers, essentially.
Yeah, it sucks.
We've been searching for randoms. We've come across one particular random that has definitely hacked the game because we've been able to go into boss fights and just like we've only run into him like once or twice in 2 story missions. But he's one hit the boss. It's just amazing to see.
I was going to say, how did you do against Lubu?
Lubu, which one's that?
He's the one on the horse.
So that's the massive open like arena. It's
like
the
circle arena. It's the big circle arena, and he does the fight. So he's on the horse for a bit. I don't know if you've got up to that yet.
Is it like the Kingdom Hearts 2 Milan kind of level layout?
It's the one it's the big gate, and there's the big fissure in the ground. And there's you might not have even got up to it.
Part 6.
You must have.
I think I'm like on the last like main story mission.
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely like it's about halfway through the game. Basically he comes in on the horse and he has the huge spear.
I remember like a palace kind of level with I swear it was a horse. Maybe I'm confusing it with like the bird or the dragon. Those flying boss fights are a massive pain in the ass.
Yes, they are. Yeah. They are.
Just because you can't hit anything, but I've really enjoyed playing it through Stubby because Stubby basically just went to me like, all right, cool. I think we would really enjoy this. Just all you need to do is do the first boss fight solo. So that was all I streamed of it, and it was just me getting my ass handed to it.
That first boss is fucking hard.
But as soon as you got the mechanic, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, once you learn how to do it, you can basically just parry everything he hits. I mean, in the same way that Sekiro is very difficult until you kind of get it down.
Yeah. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it. I've got most of the achievements. I've kind of looked at the Steam reviews and the stuff. The comments around the DLC aren't positive.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to add free DLCs. And I think the season pass is like $22, something like that.
It's pretty cheap.
I'm probably just going to pick up the season pass because I will need to play them. Now that I wasn't sure if they were going to add achievements, but it looks like they are. So I'm going to have to
the
play
first
them.
one.
It is a good track record for that company to add achievements. There's a saying Stranger Paradise did have 3, I think, packs, and that it's the same thing. Like they did exactly the same thing. 3 packs, and then there'll probably be like maybe another update or something.
They're pretty simple achievements though. It's like complete, collect all the flags, collect the pandas, it's
same.
All you collect exactly the same as the main game, which is good because you can kind of get an idea of it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed everything but the server disconnections. Especially because that particular level that I'm stuck on, that's the only level that has that midway boss fight and then the final boss fight at the end. Because you got the 2 guys that so yeah, Wolong's been pretty good. We're giving it a break until we can try and organize the other stuff. Homeseek embargo lifted yesterday at 5 p.m. So I have been 100% flat out filming content for Homeseek. Putting together a facts video, which should come out early next week. Like recording all the content for that. Been playing some multiplayer for a city builder. It's not a PC. It's not an Xbox game, but it's been like a lot of time this week.
Definitely worth shouting out.
Guess what I loaded up just before we started the podcast?
What?
I'm going to try this Homeseek demo. So I actually played it now. So
I'm very curious. Very curious to see how. What was the questions?
Huh? Well, what kind of questions would you say to somebody who hasn't played it before?
I don't know. I would say if you're a fan of like Frostpunk, Ixon, is it Ixon? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Ixon.
No, I don't know. Anyway,
those kind of PC city builders.
Yeah.
It's a city builder where it's less about the place that you're building and more about keeping your colony alive and being...
Yeah.
It's more about management.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I found... What were you going to say?
I was going to say, and not being afraid to let people die to let others survive.
Yeah. The thing that I found that I really, really liked about it was that you could purely just click on the buildings and manage everything without having to fiddle with the individual characters.
Yeah.
And the other people in the game. So you're basically clicking on buildings, having a look at the skill, like the tree and what it can interconnect to. And then just like, it's just basically, it becomes this web of, okay, this connects to this and this connects to this. You build this. The only problem I had with that was that the first time I built something, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it had to be close to this other, like the water storage had to be close to the pumps or whatever to actually build them. To actually get something out of it. I didn't know that there was like an actual physical chain of like linkage to it.
It's a physical chain, especially throughout the game, because you're going to have like the main campaign where it's going to be like heavy on story, that kind of stuff, the expeditions.
Yeah.
But the further away you build stuff, the harder it is to gather resources, and the further away you build like these pipes, for example, you might be doing plastic, but it might drop from say right next to it 98% to like 92% or like high 80s, something like that. It might not be like noticeable at the start, but as the level progresses, you're losing those resources.
It works perfectly fine on my Surface too, my Surface Pro 8. Really, really well. Like with like just that internal graphics card that it has, it can support a lot of stuff. It did, for whatever reason, put it on Ultra for the graphics at the start. So when I just
Ultra,
So when I clicked on go with the story, it was just chugging along, and I had to wait until that was over to get in there and do something with it. I ended up running it at 1080p medium, I think.
The main
just for a smooth thing.
The main thing I'm really interested in is there's like no city builders that I can think of that have multiplayer. Like if you think of a city builder with multiplayer, it's like Age of Empires and that, which isn't
Not really.
it's not a city builder,
Civ,
it's RTS,
which is again not the same thing. Yeah, for sure.
So the multiplayer is going to be 2 to 8 players, and it's essentially end game for you've mastered the campaign, you've tried endless, you tried survival. So like you got the main campaign, which is 9 stories, or you've got your endless mode, which is like the people that you carry across from that particular scenario will go like 1 to 2 and all that. So if you make a really bad decision on one of those scenarios, it's starting over the entire campaign.
Oh boy.
Or the positive thing is though, you can be playing scenario on easy, medium, with hard. You might do, all right, 1 I passed, 2 I passed, 3 I passed. 4 I just really suffered. I made a really stupid mistake, and it's cost me that campaign.
Right.
5 will still unlock.
Gotcha.
We don't want to punish you because you've been playing for the last hour. You made one silly mistake, and now you're locked to replaying that campaign. If you're like near the end of the level, why not just let you play through?
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, that's cool.
Right.
But scenario 2 will have to have like completions for like 1 through 5. I have suggested to the dev that he puts through the achievements as Mad Max.
Mad Max themed. Yeah.
I don't know if that's. I know what the achievement conditions are. I don't know what the names of the achievements are.
Gotcha.
I would probably have a look at Waterworld a little bit if you've not seen
that would be cool. I did recommend a free player multiplayer match though. The winning one of that being first. Like free ST.
Yeah, free ST.
But yeah, the multiplayer is
Thunderdome.
Multiplayer is what I'm most keen for. Ziggy put out a video today of him versus Mike, the lead developer. Ziggy D, who's like the main streamer for Path of Exile, I would say. I'm just really curious about how multiplayer goes, just because it's something I haven't seen people play before. It's very much a case of like you can stay in your own base, build your city up, have the most survivors, and win that way, or you can go exploration. I'm going to send out a convoy to go and steal your resources or attack your people and kill them.
What's the ultimate goal of a multiplayer?
Multiplayer is the win condition is to have the most people by the end of day 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, essentially you can either win by stay in your base and just build stuff up. You'll have like day 3 will come, another 8 survivors will come in, but you're going to make sure you're keeping them happy through housing, through food, through water. Otherwise, they'll just, we don't like your colony. That's the only thing in this desert civilization. We're just going to wander out into nothingness and just perish.
Why not?
Sure, cool. You do you. Yeah.
Anything's better than here.
Anything's better than here in your leadership. Or you can just go to the nodes in the exploration. You'll get 2. If you're the first person discovering it, you'll get 2. So it's very much a race against time to get as many nodes and then bring those people back while still managing their resources. Now I've only played 2 players, and it's kind of like it's fun because there's no chat in that, but if you're playing in Discord and that kind of thing, you can. It's the kind of game that like they're not going to be screen peeking or anything. You can just It like the exploration is the only thing that would matter if you're like trying to sneak a peek. You can just be like, visit your base. What are you doing? You got like no resources for me to steal. That's fun. It's like you're already in a once you're in a downward spiral, it is pretty hard to pull back. But yeah. Because it's been embargo and like not many people have been playing multiplayer, I've only had the chance to play like 2-player matches. Once the game's fully out, people will have an understanding of it. Oh man, I can't wait to see 8 players.
Man, that's gonna get crazy.
The amount of people just like hitting each other and that. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm really hoping it does well. Not just because I'm working on it, because Greek dev. How many studios do we know that are like Greek devs?
Very few. I can't think of none off the top of my head.
Like when I was talking to Mike over at PAX East, like there's not really a gaming scene as much in Greece.
No, not really.
So it's like I'm really hoping it does well for him. And then the other game I was going to talk about while I've had spare moment is I don't know why. I just thought to myself the other day, like, oh, I haven't seen chapters in a while. And it got me thinking that he put that guide up for a game called Thymesia.
Yeah,
Which
the
was the
sort of
Dark
Dark
Souls.
Souls. Yeah.
Okay.
This is really really scratched the itch while I'm waiting for Liza P.
That's kind of what it's been on my list for a while, but I just never got around to it. And
Amnesia.
like the fact that it never came into Game Pass, but it kind of felt like it'd be a perfect fit for it.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I looked at it and I'm like, I'm really digging like a Dark Souls. The main problem with me with playing Dark Souls is I really want to get into the game and not have to worry about a guide.
Yeah.
A guide deters me from playing a game like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Even though I know, like, I want to do one playthrough, which is impossible.
That's it's kind of like you can play Dark Souls blind, but it will, like, achievement wise, is definitely not the way.
It's gonna add like a playthrough and that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the ass. So I was like, man, the Mishi's only got one missile achievement, and it's basically defeating a boss without a potion. All right, cool. So if I do that very early on in the game, I can basically just not blind play for, like I can
Just
sure you don't have to
enjoy
worry about it.
I can not have to worry about it. I think there might be two. Okay, I need chapters to come back online so I can ask him about this. The very start of the game, with the tutorial section, if you defeat the boss there, you get an achievement. If he kills you, it just cuts straight into the main story. Yeah, I believe it's missable.
Yeah, technically it would be. That's similar to the original Demon Souls.
Okay, so I've missed that, which is fine. I don't think this game is going to get like any title updates or achievements, or God forbid.
Yeah.
But I just started putting things to strength, and I'm like, actually, this game isn't hard at all. The parry system. Okay, like most Dark Souls kind of games and that, the parry window is like very tight. This has a very lenient parry window. And but it's so easy just to, parry, hit. Like just essentially just say it in your mind, parry, hit. And it's one of those ones that left bumper parry takes down their white bar into a green bar.
Yeah.
So they'll have health left, but then you need to right trigger to diminish their health.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a deflect takes their shield, essentially. It's not shield, but like, the coating of the bar. And then you need to do like heavy attacks with right trigger to put it in. There's this cloud move that you can do where you just smoke screen around. But if you it has like a 120-second cooldown. But if you mix that in with summon it will essentially take down a whole bunch of their bar. If they're going to attack, deflect, and then just immediately just start laying into them, it's like easy mode. It is amazing. I've nearly blitzed. I think I've blitzed through like the main story in like 6 or so hours. And then it's just going to be like complete each mission, like replay.
Sure.
It's listed, I think, like 15, 20 hours on TA. Unless there's like a whole bunch of bonus content, I don't think it's going to be that long.
I'm definitely going to play this. It's been on my backlog for ages, and I was like, I need to jump on that because it's my kind of game.
I think the only downside is I don't think the glitch method that Chapters put up is still viable.
Really?
I think it was one of those things that like got patched like a month after kind of thing. But
sure.
I think level 50 is going to be the only grindy achievement if there is one.
I was in a party with you when you were trying for the potion, for the no potions run, and you realized that there was a second phase of the boss fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I tried on that first boss fight, and then I was like, all right, cool. I basically gave up on it. Second boss fight, just one phase, easy. It's like
You so thought you were done too.
Yeah, I was like, oh yes, finally, and then it's just like second alpha. I'm like, nah. The first one's like a circus clown. The second one is this big dragon thing that flies up, but it's so easy to deflect once it hits down. And then the only thing that can really screw you is that like it will do like a massive run up. But one health bar is pretty easy. I know with Wolong and Thymesia, I've had like a ton of fun I'm not sure if I said on the podcast like 2 weeks ago when Matt was away, I essentially deleted everything off my hard drive.
You did, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're away, Matt, I deleted everything on my hard drive. I've installed games that I need to finish now before I delete off there, so I can make room for other stuff.
Good.
Oh wait, you mean you're gonna make room for Project Cars 2 again? Great. That's great.
Oh God.
It's only 300 races. It's
also,
not that many.
Cameron, that game we were thinking of was Recompile.
Yes, that is it. I kept thinking Recall for some reason, but that's
I was thinking it too, but I was like, no, it was Compile.
Recompile.
Yeah, Recompile.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was surprisingly good for what it was.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's pretty much it then, right?
That's it for me for the week.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll get into our leaderboard. So in third place, we've got Red with surprise comeback with 14,975.
Very nice.
We've got a Grey Shark with another surprise comeback of 27,295, which is nuts. And then Mad Eye Pad Eye with 75,639, which is an insane amount of achievements for 7 days. And then in terms of completions, Mr. Mad Lefty got his Titanfall 2 completion, which I promised him that we'd give him a shout out. So good job for that.
You weren't here. I was anyway. He wasn't here last week. It's fine. It missed. It's fine, Lefty. You can have your.
We'll give him. Come on, he
only because it's Titanfall 2.
Yeah, Titanfall 2. I mean, it's great. It was a tough achievement. It's one of those really good ones to get. Tolinator finished up Power Wash. Bulbasaur finished up Gungrave Gore, which I've been looking at, but I know is not very good. Rapture has just been going through all the Paw Patrol games, apparently.
You should do Gungrave Gore. You would absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be an absolute nightmare. But I know they have patched it to make it at least slightly more playable. Yep. Moonzon finished up Hellblade, Wolfenstein New Order, Edith Finch, and Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep apparently has a grounded style achievement method to it.
So apparently the case is with that is the person that has the 100% needs to, like, it's not a pass the save on kind of method. It is a
right. You need to have a person who's done it. Yeah, got it. Okay.
Oh,
I've been thinking about doing that, but also
that sounds like what is it? That game that we did not too long ago. Oh, the space one, man.
Space one.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yes. No Man's
Where
Sky,
you just kind of have to invite someone into the world.
Yeah, bring someone in. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I am worried a little bit that it might get a bunch of title updates though, because it does seem like that kind of game. But we'll see.
Yep. 100% is that kind of game. Same thing's going to happen with Grounded.
Yes. So Perk finished up Rocket League. Yen finished up Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered and Carrion. Firehawk, a good friend, is now in the top 10 achievement day streaks in the world.
Nice.
Which is fucking insane.
Yes, somebody fell off the board.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So congratulations to him. He's doing some great work. Super Bob did Jurassic the Hunted and the Peanuts movie on his 360 backlog days. Mikhail KV did the Saints Row DLC and Pixark. And Saiyan Tan 1991 finished up Dante's Inferno, which I think we might see a few more completions of that with people trying to clean it up before it closes.
Rapture, if you're listening, you need to help me. I got everything in that DLC done in one day, bar the challenges, and that will be the remainder of the year.
That is how that goes. That one, as I've talked about on the show with Keo being the absolute having the patience of a saint with me on that one, we did manage to smash through that.
Yeah, I figured if I could, tolerate you in Dante's Inferno, I could get that WRC achievement. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's exactly. It's just, always giving the hardest battles to our strongest soldiers. All right. And then we've got the word challenge. Speaking of the Moonzom, who completely fucking ruined it by getting it within 2 seconds of me posting the latest clue. Was that the clue was that it was a game that I am bad at, or a genre that I'm bad at. And he basically was like, oh yeah, Dead or Alive 4, right? And I was like, how the fuck did you get that? It's like, yes, of course it was Dead or Alive 4. So yes, he got that one. I sent him his money. Congratulations. I have come up with a new word challenge. Now, normally I don't announce a new word challenge in the same time that we announce the winner, but fuck it. It's been long enough. We're going to do things a little bit differently. I have acquired a code for a game, and the basically the winning guess is if you can guess what code I have, you get the code for that game.
Is this guessing the 25 digits?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to guess all 25 digits. Exactly. No. Yeah, exactly. Just one at a time, and we'll do like the green light, yellow light, red light thing.
Social media.
Into the Xbox Live store.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
it's like it's like you get all of the numbers except for like a really hard equation at the end. No, so basically, as long as you can guess what the name of the game is, you get a code for that game.
He's not going to give us any hints whatsoever.
I will give you one hint.
One.
This game has over 1,000 gamer score.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you're getting.
Over. Okay.
And then I guess the other clue is that obviously it is available digitally because I have a code for it, but that doesn't help a lot.
Could be delisted.
It could be delisted.
Sorry. It is or was available digitally.
Yes, I was going to say it is a code that I have acquired, but I'm not going to say like when I got it.
God, how you said
what region you have to turn your Xbox to change
exactly, yeah. So yes, there will be potentially a little bit of a pain in the ass.
Oh man,
but also like let me just the scenario might have come across that I may have found a code somewhere that was unused that I had for a long time.
How you said acquired then concerns me.
No, it's fine. I'm
back alley deals.
Who knows? Who knows, right? I mean, I can't make it too easy for you guys. But yeah, if you guess what the game is, it is a game obviously on TA. So as always, the bot is only going to work for the word challenge if you basically copy and paste the name just to make sure you get it exactly right and stuff, but whatever.
And we know it's an Xbox code because it's 25 digits.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely an Xbox code.
Wait, how long are PlayStation codes?
I have no idea. 25, I assume.
They're like 9, I think. 10, 12.
9? 9?
It's like 3, 4, and 3 or some shit. I don't know. I don't remember.
But if for some reason you don't know what the word challenge is, you can come hang out with us on Discord, discord.io/HallOfGamers. Basically, it's a place, if you don't know what Discord is for some reason, it's a big chat room with a bunch of stuff where our community hangs out and we talk about shit, talk about the podcast. We have a channel on there called Word Challenge. You go in there and guess the name of the game, and you can see the clues in there as well with the clue, with the command exclamation point clues. I'll put it in there after this so people can start guessing.
And if you guess the witness, then it basically tells you how the whole internet feels about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not the witness, but if you guess the witness, I do change the GIF every time we do a challenge for this to tell you how fucking wrong you are. This one, the last one I was pretty proud of. This one is very weird. I've started to go surreal with the GIFs now because I just stopped giving a fuck because it's never the witness. So yeah, go ahead and guess that, and come hang out with our community and talk about the show and, post memes and all that kind of stuff.
That's not doing anything. Why is it not doing anything?
It's not working?
The GIF isn't working.
Oh, damn it. All right, I'll have to check that. Well, I think you need to make it capital.
Okay. The worst thing of all is not getting a response from the witness.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no! I immediately regret.
Oh, well, you better delete it then. All right. So that'll be fun for people to discover. If you get one guess per hour, but whatever.
Yes.
All right, and we've also got our Patreon, patreon.com/HallOfGamers. That's the place where you can come and give us some money, help us support the show. We do release some sort of behind the scenes content, stuff we talk about before and after the show that doesn't make it into the actual show itself. If you want to come see that stuff, that's the best place to do it. We also do any sort of supplemental stuff or any extra things we always put out on there first as well. So a big thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natolinator, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and McLovin Legend for helping support the show. We literally could not afford to do it without you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And I guess if you want to contact...
I was saying thank you to the Patrons.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And if you want to get in contact with us in other ways, you can email us, hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com, at hallofgamerspod on Twitter, for as long as Twitter is still around. Otherwise, you can leave us a review on the many platforms that we're available on, unless you want to give us 1 star. And if you're going to give us 1 star, you know who you fucking are. Give us 5 stars. All right, we're a great podcast, motherfucker.
Get dogs.
Absolutely. And on our Discord, you can also write in questions like Isaac, so we can answer them next week on the show. All right, Cameron, give us the details. What's happening?
Homeseek.
You're obviously very busy.
Homeseek launches next Thursday at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Come play multiplayer with me next week. Actually, not next week, and I'll be busy. Oh man, I've got a Homeseek launch this month, and then I'm like got free game announcements coming. I've got free game announcements coming up. Actually, I will close off the podcast by saying that one of so the indie arcade booth for Gamescom, they did like the trailer on Twitter, like showcasing a whole bunch of like the great games that are going to be the indie arcade at Gamescom, which is great. 200,000 people. The trailer on the website had super secret game on it because we submitted 3 of our games as undisclosed titles.
Oh, okay.
But we gave them the assets. So it was so cool seeing. I was looking as close, right? I'm like, that is 100% that undisclosed game.
Amazing.
So
Nice.
I'll be showing off super secret game in like a month's time. It may or may not be at Xbox. I'm not hinting anything. But
you're so fucking bad at this secret shit, man.
Yeah.
Subtle as a brick.
I don't have to commit to anything. It's fun.
Amazing.
Cool.
Kia, what about you?
All right. So you can follow me at Kia Live on Twitter. You can also see my streams at Kia Live at home on my Twitch channel. But you can also catch the VODs from that on HTFG Play on YouTube. And so I'll be on there. All my streams go to both platforms, to Twitch and to YouTube. So you can go to either or and spam the chat in either or, and I will see it. Unless I'm using my VR headset, which, happened at least once. And so I'm trying to get back to some Xbox stuff, but it's kind of hard to when you're skipping a week because you're working all day and whatever. So,
man,
so it's odd.
Every time you use that acronym, all I can think of is like Home and Gardens kind of.
Oh,
like
dude, I could come up with some dirty shit with that.
All right, and you can find me on Neomaster on everything.
Look, let's just say it could be whatever you want it to be.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, with the power of AI.
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah. You can make Kyo say anything. And you can find me on Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. A big thank you to everyone for watching the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch, so come hang out with us. You can listen to it on all good streaming platforms. And if you want to catch the VOD, if it's gone missing or you're on the backlog, we do have a YouTube channel where I put everything up after I've made a couple of small edits and tidied it up a little bit. So you can come watch it there on our YouTube channel, which is easy enough to find. Just Google us.
He puts like a big sticker on his co-host kind of face, so he's the center of attention.
Yeah, it's like the Mike Wazowski thing. Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
That's exactly what it is.
I think you just need to use that GIF you've got for the witness, actually.
Yeah, that's going to be the backup for this week. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 85. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye.